Song of the Wandering Angel. And before us is the land of heartfelt desire. Now that my ladder is gone, I must lie down where all ladders begin, in the disgusting shop of wrecks and heart bones, to sing the song of putting out the fire, to dance on the mountains like a flame. Dear brothers and sisters, there are many contemporary soteriological models. Some are saying Christianity grounded reduction of man to his subjectivity. It does not lead to liberation but to enslavement. Subjective judgment or the voice of truth. You may choose. So stick I to Thomism. Thomistic thought, personal relationship, natural intellectual and volitional improvements, introducing order in feelings. We imagine, according to Aquinas, according to Luther, despite Christ's justification, man still remains a sinner. According to Aquinas, who presented the motives and consequences of salvation in a balanced and synthetic way, this issue reveals the key role of human freedom. Divine redemption and human freedom cooperate with each other, giving man the opportunity to regain the image of God in himself. However, I want to have an intuitive picture of our generation. That is why I am writing and speaking to you. Now, an artist's only true response to a work of art he likes is to create a new one born of his own creativity. See Etienne Gilson, The Art of the Beautiful. Another scientist, Jacques Maritain's theory of poetic intuition. See the work by Maritain, Integral Humanism. It would have to be passed on, this feeling the intuitive pulse in the poem, a kind of lining of the universe. See Chesterton. Carl Gustav Jung claimed that human experience is never strictly individual, but objective notes resound. Poetry is prose in a state of particular density. Things constantly transcend themselves. Let us pay attention to multiple actions and contacts, unions and divisions. I would like to resonate for a moment with the hidden order of the universe, and so on. Immanuel Kant wrote, in the face of the exact sciences, metaphysics needs rational justification and practical application, so it must be deprived of dogmatic argumentation, powerless against the idea of rationalism. Theoretical knowledge ceases to have a set of concepts describing the universal and irrefutable laws of pure reason. See Critique of Pure Reason, page 25. I reject its speculativeness and dogmatism in metaphysics. Metaphysics is henceforth to be a natural indignation and the object of practical faith. Distinguishing judgments. Synthetic judgment is for Kant mathematical, subjective. Synthetic a priori judgment are used to learn about the permanent and unchanging concept of freedom, immortality, concept of God, regardless of experience, and so on. Metaphysics aims to expand knowledge and is based only on synthetic a priori judgment. Henceforth, self-will is different from self-free will. Natural law will always be recognized by a priori judgment. See Pure Reason. We now come to criticism of practical reason. See Immanuel Kant. Reason gives laws which are imperatives, objective laws of freedom, and which possess what ought to happen. Subjective judgment equal maxims. There are postulates, religion of reason, in the thinking by Immanuel Kant. And here is my latest expose, which draws ideas from William Butler Yeats. Will you come with me, newlywed bride, and look at the happy crowd? Time is an endless song. I kiss you and the world begins to fade. The world is full of magical things, patiently waiting for our senses to sharpen. Because he would think about love until the stars run away, and the shadows until they devour the moon. And my education is not about filling a bucket, but about lighting a fire. Poet said, "Depart, O child of man, to waters and wildlife, with the fairy hand in hand, because there is more crying in the world than you can understand." When you're old, grey and sleepy and nodding by the fire, look into this book and slowly read and dream of a soft look. What your eyes once had and the shadows were deep. How many loved your moment of joyful grace? I loved your beauty with false or true love. Behold, one man fell in love with you as a pilgrim soul. I love the sorrows of your changing face. And leaning over the glowing bars, murmur sadly about how love is gone as I walked through the mountains overhead. How I hid my face among the crowds of stars. Fairies, come and take me away from this boring world, because I would like to ride with you in the wind, run on top of the disheveled wave, and dance on the mountains like flame. If I had heaven's embroidered garments, enriched with golden and silver light, blue, dim and dark clothes, nights and lights and half-lights, I would spread a canvas under your feet. But I, being poor, have only dreams. I spread my dreams under your feet. Tread gently, because you are treading on my dreams. A mermaid found a boy swimming. She took it for herself. She pressed her body against his. I laughed and I breathed a sigh of relief. I forgot in cruel happiness that even lovers drown. There is another word, but it is in this one. The wine comes to my mouth, and love appears in the eye. That's all we'll ever know when it comes to the truth. Before we grow old and die, I raise the glass to my lips. I look at you and sigh. Let us go forth, storytellers, and lay hold of whatever prey our hearts long for, and let us not be afraid. Everything exists, everything is true, and the earth is just fine dust under our feet. Turning around in an expanding vortex, the falcon does not hear the falconer. Things fall apart, the middle can no longer stop it. There is simple anarchy in the world. The blood-dim waves spread everywhere. The ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack conviction, the worst are full of passionate intensity. Responsibilities begin in dreams. So think like a wise man, but communicate in the language of the people. There are no strangers, only friends you haven't met yet. I have created empty soul around me. I believe all empty souls are prone to extreme opinions. I'll get up and go now and go to the Fontainebleau. There I will build a little hut of day and wattles. I'll have 9 rows of beams, and I hive for honey bees, and I lived alone in a clearing full of bees. And I will find peace there, because peace is slowly fading away. There I will fall from the bells of the morning, for the cricket sings. There the north is aglow, and the south is a purple glow, and an evening full of raspberry wings. I will get up and go now, for I am there forever day and night. I hear the lake water lapping with a faint sound at the shore, and when I stand on the road or on grey sidewalks, I can already hear it deep in my heart. I bring you with reverent hands the books of my countless dreams. The worst things about some men is that when they're not drunk, they're sober. I know I will meet my fate somewhere among the clouds above. I don't hate those I fight with. I no longer love those I protect as I used to love them so much. Any fool can fight a winning battle, but it takes character to fight a losing one. And that should inspire us, which reminds me that last night I dreamed that I was hanged, and that was the life of the party. Hearts are not given as a gift, but they can be earned thanks to those who are not entirely beautiful. And so on. Hope and Memory have one daughter whose name is Art. She built her dwelling far from the desperate fields where people hung their ropes on forked branches to be banners of battle. O beloved daughter of Hope and Memory, be with me for a moment. Think where the greatest glory of man begins and ends, and to say that my glory was that I had such friends. I have to work it out myself. Exploring the dark recesses of one's soul requires greater courage than that of a soldier of the battlefield. If I darken my eyelashes, eyes brighter, and the lips are more scarlet, another time ask if everything is okay, jumping from mirror to mirror, no vanities showing, and I'm looking for the face I had before the world was created. And the softness came from the starlight and filled me to the core. Happiness is neither a virtue nor pleasure, neither this nor that, but simply growth. We are happy when we develop. It is important to say before going to sleep, I have lived many lives. I was a slave and a prince. Many loved ones have sat on my lap, and I have sat on the laps of many loved ones. And everything that has happened will happen again. We taste, feel, and see the truth. We won't go into that. God spreads the heavens over us like great wings, and gives a small round of deeds and days. And then the broken angels will come and lay snares and harass them with light hopes and heavy dreams, until your heart fills with pride and leaves, half trembling, half rejoicing in the peace of God. And it was some broken angel, blind with tears, who flattered Adam's heart with cheerful words. I would take the word, and I broke it into pieces in my hands, to see you smile and watch it fall apart. Once upon a time I fly danced in the sun's ray. I lied wind blowing at dawn. He could then fill his heart with dreams that no one else knew. But it is an indissoluble sacrament. He confused your heart that was most proud and cold with my warm heart forever. Sun and moon, they must disappear, and the sky will be rolled up like a scroll. But your white ghost will still follow my ghost. The wind blows from the gates of the day. The wind blows on a lonely heart, and the lonely heart will wither, while the fairies dance in a distant place. They shake their milky white feet in a ring, throwing milky white arms into the air, because they hear the wind bluffing, murmuring and singing, from a land where even the wise are gay in tongue. But I heard Colonist Reed say, when the wind laughed and murmured and sang, the lonely heart withers. Do not be inhospitable to strangers, lest they become angels in disguise. Why should I blame her for filling my days? Unfortunately, or at least that's how it was supposed to be lately, She taught ignorant people the most brutal ways, or did it throw little snares upon the great? Did the courage equal the desire, which could make her have peace of mind? This nobility is as simple as fire, with beauty like a taut bow. This kind is not natural at this age, to be tall, lonely, and the most severe. Why? What could she do, being who she was? Was this another Troy for her to burn? Although I am old from wandering through empty lands and hilly lands, I find out where she went, to kiss her on the lips and take her hands, and walk among the long speckled grass, and knock it down until times are over, silver apples of the moon, golden apples of the sun. Hearts cannot be given as a gift, hearts must be earned. It will take many years before a person can believe what he feels and now what it feels like. Everything exists, I said, everything is true, and the earth is just a speck of dust under our feet. Love appears in the eyes. Sometimes my feet are tired and my hands are calm, but there is no peace in my heart. From time to time, beloved, look into your heart. A sacred tree grows there, the holy branches climbed with joy, and all the trembling flowers they bear, the changing colors of its fruits. He gave the stars cheerful light, the certainty of a hidden root. He planted silence in the night, shaking the leafy head. He gave the waves a melody, and connected my lips and music. I hummed a magic song for you. The laugh turns into circle, the merry circle of our days. It vibrates and spins back and forth in those big, ignorant, leafy ways, remembering all those hairs shakes, and as winged sandals fly, your eyes fill with tender concern. Dear ones, look into your heart. With age, something of the lightness of dreams is lost. You start to take life in both hands and care more for a fruit rather than a flower, although this may not be a great loss. I said, a lonely man in a crowded London shop, open book and empty cup on a marble tabletop. While in the store and on the street I looked around, my body suddenly caught fire, and about 20 minutes it seemed that my happiness was so great that I was especially blessed and could bless everyone. The mystical life is at the center of everything I do, what I think and what I write. God, save me from the thoughts that men think only in the mind. You see, the Celt and its tomb, circles and pillar stones will not change much. In fact, it is doubtful whether anyone will ever change at all, despite legions of naysayers, sages and professors. Most are still against sitting down for an 13th dinner at the table, helping with salting or walking under a ladder at seeing a single making flirting with its turbulent tail. There are of course children of light who oppose all this, although even a journalist, if you lure him to a cemetery at midnight, will believe in apparitions, because everyone is a visionary if you scratch it deep enough. But Celt, unlike others, is a visionary without scratches. In the gardens we met my love. She passed gardens with little snow-white feet. She told me to be still in love while the leaves grow on the tree, but I, young and stupid, disagreed with her. In a field by the river my love and I stood, and she placed her snow-white hand on my bent shoulder. She told me to live peacefully, like grass growing on the weirs. But I was young and foolish, and now I am full of tears. Where there is nothing, there is God. and so on. When someone becomes quiet, something awakens within them, something happy and quiet like the stars. Thinking of this, I pulled back to the curtains and looked out into the darkness, and it seemed to my restless imagination that all those little pink pricks of light filling the sky were the furnaces of countless divine alchemists who were constantly at work, melting lead into gold, fatigue into ecstasy, bodies into souls, darkness in God, and with the excellent work my mortality became heavy, and I cried out, as many dreamers and writers of our time have cried, for the birth of that exquisite spiritual beauty which alone could uplift souls burdened with so many dreams. Ecstasy comes from the contemplation of things broader than the individual and perhaps imperfectly seen by all who are still alive. Although I am old from wandering, I said, through empty lands and hilly lands, I'll find out where she went, and I will kiss her on the lips and take her hands to walk among the long speckled grass, and pick until time and times are over silver apples of the moon, golden apples of the sun. For you live in your shining days, voices among the crowd, and new friends are busy praising you. Don't be rude or proud, but think above all of all friends. The bitter flood of time will rise, your beauty will perish and be lost. Fall all eyes, but not these eyes. I will rise and live now, because I always hear the splashing of water in the lake day and night. I hear it in the depth of my heart. I dance with an immortal stately woman who had black lilies in her hair, and her dreamy gesture seemed filled with a wisdom deeper than the darkness between the stars, and a laugh like the laugh that breathed the waters. And as we danced without ceasing, the incense rose above us and surrounded us, covering us as if in the heart of the world. And it seemed as if centuries passed, and the storms awakened and died away in the folds of our robes and in her heavy hair. Suddenly I remembered that her eyelids never fluttered, and her lilies never dropped a black petal, never shook their places, and stood with great understanding. We sat quietly in the name of love. We saw the last embers of daylight die, and in a trembling blue-green sky, the moon-carried stood like a shell, washed by the water of time. The embers rose and fell with the stars and the broken days and years. I was just thinking about your ears, that you were beautiful, and that's what I wanted, loving you the old, high love way, that everything seemed happy, and yet we grew up tired as this empty moon. To our hearts we have no fear. The calm, trembling heart recall the wisdom of ancient times. He who trembles before the flame and the flood, like winds blowing on starry path, and now the starry winds, the flame and the flood, cover yourselves and hide yourself, for the heart has no part with a lonely, majestic crowd. When I am in the mood, I believe that all nature is full of people whom we cannot see, and that some of them are ugly or grotesque, others wicked or stupid, but there are many beautiful ones, such as we have never seen, and they are not far away. The simple men of all time and the sages of antiquity saw them and even talked with them. The work of a great writer is little more than the moods and passions of his own heart, which was given Christian surnames and names and sent to walk the earth. I think that all happiness depends on the energy that allows you to put on the mask of another life, to be reborn as something that is not yourself. We fed our hearts with fantasies. The heart became brutal from eating, more substance in our hostility than in our love. Time falls into decay, like an extinguished candle, and mountains and forests have your day, but please, old root, about moods born on fire, you will not pass away. So there are my passions and affects of today. You see, my spiritual beginning was, I admit, rocky. It now seems to me that it is close to the images of Edgar Allan Poe shown in the poem Alone. Though my mother was always there for me, but let me quote Poe. From childhood's hour I have not been as other were. I have not seen as others saw. I could not bring my passions from a common spring. From the same source I have not taken my sorrow. I could not awaken my heart to joy at the same dawn. And all I laughed alone. Then in my childhood, in the dawn of a most stormy life, was drawn from every depth of good and ill the mystery which binds me still from the torrent or the fountains, from the red cliff of the mountains, from the sun that rounds me rolled in its autumn tint of gold, from the lightning in the sky and is past me flying by, from the thunder at the storms, at the cloud that took the form, when the rest of heaven was blue, of a demon in my view. My poem does not end there. It has only just begun. Thank you for listening and for this evening's cooperation.